Good morning from the IRM in London, and welcome to this webinar about the IRM's qualifications. These include our certificate and our diploma in risk management, and also some new specialist qualifications that we are developing. Today we're going to look at how some organisations and individuals in the public sector have been making use of our qualifications to boost their expertise in risk management. And we're also going to go through the practicalities of how the enrolment and study processes work. My name is Carolyn Williams, and I'm the Director of Corporate Relations here at the IRM. I took the IRM examinations myself many years ago, so I know very well how it feels to be wondering what the course involves, how it's going to meet business needs and progress your career, and how you're going to be able to fit it into a busy work and family life. First, let's deal with some technical points. If you have sound problems, then I'm afraid it's likely to be a problem at your end with the speed of your internet connection, and there isn't anything that we can do to tweak or help you in real time. However, you will be able to access the recording of the webinar after it finishes, so you can catch up on it later. If you have any questions as we go along, then type them into the question box, and we'll see how many we can deal with in the time we have available. The IRM website is also a mine of further information. You'll find syllabus information for all the qualifications and also details of enrolment and examination arrangements. We've got a large number of people scheduled to join us from this webinar from various locations in the UK and from overseas as well. Because IRM's courses are designed for distance learning, we have students in many different countries. Every year we have about 500 students studying with us on the various courses. Our courses are sector independent. Risk management tools and techniques can be applied whatever sector you work in. But we do always have strong representation from the public sector, as effective enterprise risk management and building healthy risk cultures becomes increasingly important to government departments and public sector bodies of all types around the world. This slide shows some of the public sector bodies, both in the UK and overseas, who have put people through our courses already. This is our agenda for today. I'm going to talk to you a bit about why people take professional qualifications, sort of things that a risk professional needs to know, and about the progression route through the IRM qualifications. Then we're going to hear from some people who have actually taken an IRM qualification about their experience. We're going to hear from Jackie Olga. Jackie is the risk management lead at Brighton and Hove City Council here in the UK. Jackie is a certified member of IRM, which means she's obtained our diploma, and she's also been active in the Institute for many years, participating in joint working with other organisations like SIPFA and also helping to judge past IRM risk awards. We'll then hear from Letty Pringle. Letty's an IRM cert, so she holds our certificate in risk management, and she's risk manager for NHS Borders, which is a Scottish health board within our National Health Service here in the UK. She's also continuing her IRM studies with the aim of progressing to our diploma, which opens the door to certified status. Our next speaker is then Mark Butterworth. Mark is a long-standing certified fellow of the Institute, past chairman, board member, examiner and trainer. Mark is a module coach, providing direct guidance to students, and is going to talk about the structure of our certificate exams. We also have with us Lucas Moraes from IRM's student support team. Lucas is part of the team which guides our students from their enrolment through their studies and exams, and hopefully into qualified IRM membership. He'll be talking about the practical details of how to enrol for the certificate and the logistical arrangements of studying and taking the exams. So, why take a professional qualification, and why with IRM? First, we're not a training company or a consultancy. IRM is an independent, not-for-profit body owned and run by its members, who are all practicing risk professionals in some form. Secondly, we're not a university or a college. That's not to say we don't work closely with the academic world, though. Our qualifications are developed by a mixed team of academics and people actually working in risk, so they give you a great balance of academic rigour and practical application. As well as giving you the subject knowledge that you need, qualifying with IRM gives you an internationally recognised professional qualification with letters after your name. In that way, we're similar to other professional bodies that you may encounter, for example, the Project Management Institutes, Engineering Institutes, or similar for accountants or internal auditors. Belonging to an institute like IRM also provides you with a network that will support your lifelong learning and career progression. As you might expect, IRM has some views on what makes a good risk professional and how qualifications and membership support professional excellence. This slide shows how we think, what we think a good professional needs. Firstly, you need the technical knowledge about risk management, and this is the sort of thing you study when you study with us. It covers risk management frameworks, processes, standards, tools, and techniques. And that's the basic bones of a risk management qualification. A lot of this is common, whatever sector, whatever sort of market you're in. We then move on to other knowledges, sector knowledge. So you need to know about the context in which you're operating, best practice risk management in your sector. It's in this area that participating in a professional institute like IRM, you get the opportunity to join our special interests and our regional groups that help you link up with people in similar work to yourself. So, for example, we have people who meet together for the charity sector and also the health sector, who have targeted events looking at issues in their area. We also have some specialist qualifications that we've been developing in the area of digital risk management and supply chain risk management that help people apply their knowledge in those particular areas. Professional knowledge, this is again part of being a professional body and studying for a professional qualification. We look at how other business functions operate and how risk management interacts with them. You have to know about how things like internal audit, HR, information technology, how those other functions interact with risk. As a risk professional, you need to know about your own organisation, how it works, and that then goes into the area of culture. Risk culture is a very sort of topical subject in risk management, and is covered in our qualifications. How people behave in respect of risk. The whole idea of behaviour and how people behave, how you get them to change their behaviour, is a big topic. And lastly, we have up there self-knowledge. In order to be a risk professional, you have to develop some of these skills to a high level. Communication, influencing, negotiating, questioning. All of these things help you operate as a risk professional. In many organisations, there's either only a small risk team or in some cases only one person responsible for risk. So you can't possibly do the whole risk management function for an organisation all by yourself. So you're going to have to work with other people. And we try and encourage people in the risk field to develop these skills in order to help their organisations move forward. So this slide gives an overview of how our qualifications work and how they fit together. And it outlines how you have a career path that takes you from the basic knowledge about risk management up to being a fully qualified professional. Many people find out about IRM or encounter us by coming on one of our training courses. We operate a large number of training courses in the UK and overseas, and one of the most popular of these is our Fundamentals of Risk Management course, which gives people an overview of the basics of risk management in a classroom training situation. So people may come along to this to find out a little bit more, and then based on what they know then, they can move on to saying, well, I need to now study for a qualification and embed this knowledge within myself and to get some letters after my name and to show that I know my stuff when it comes to risk management. So the first step on the qualification route is to take our International Certificate in Risk Management. It's also available in a variant that covers financial services, but I think for the public sector it would be the general IRM International Certificate that people would be interested in. So we're going to go into more detail with our other speakers here today as to what that covers. But basically it gives you a broad grounding in all aspects of enterprise risk management. After that, if people want, some people stop at that point. They get the IRM cert letters after their name. It takes them about a year to do that from start to finish. Some people stop at that point, but we very much encourage people to go on and take the next step, which is to move on to the international diploma. So that's another 2 years of study. another 4 modules on top of the 2 modules you take for a certificate. So there's a little bit of flexibility in there, 3 years in total. We allow little people a bit more time if they need it to take the exams. Once you've taken the diploma, which involves studying at a higher level, more sort of postgraduate type level, dealing with concepts and more complex material. Once you've taken that, then initially you become a grad IRM, which indicates that you have achieved the diploma, and then we start looking at certified status. Now, certification indicates to the world that not only do you have a qualification in risk management, but you also have a degree of experience, which we require you to show us that you have a portfolio of experience working in risk management. You also, as a member of the Institute of Risk Management, have to sign up to our Code of Conduct, which is another thing that you associate with professional membership. And you also have a personal undertaking to continue your continuing professional development and undertake CPD to ensure that you remain on top of developments in the risk management world. So all those things together are what makes up a certified risk professional, which can be at the member level, certified member of the Institute of Risk Management, or for people who really get involved in the Institute and involved in the profession can move on to be a certified fellow of the Institute of Risk Management. So that's the pinnacle of a risk management career. It's internationally recognised as the premier qualification, the premier certification for people working within risk management. So that's the career path if you're going to be a risk professional, and that's the steps that you can take over a period of time to show your commitment to developing yourself and to learning about risk management. Okay, so now do we have Jackie Olga on the phone?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you, Caroline.
Hello, Jackie. It's great to hear you this morning. So I'm going to hand over to you, Jackie, to tell our audience a little bit about your experience of studying with IRM and how that fitted into your career and what you do now.
Thank you very much, Caroline. Thanks very much for asking me to talk today. So I'm very keen on risk management. That's been my career for the last 27 years, and I have really enjoyed doing the studying and also the CPD and the requirements that I need to meet to make sure my skills are up to date. Because in my view, risk management is really key to the public sector and any employer, but it gives you a strong foundation in the types of risks, the process to apply, and how to report if you do the training. As a risk manager, it is important to know your organisation and overtly assist it to achieve its objectives. It's about adding value. So keeping the work useful to your organisation and relevant. And I think that's really important to know that we have to apply our studies in the way that suits and achieves the outcome. In the public sector, we need to recognise many different types of risks. In local authority, there are many services. Some are unique, but of course, all of them can have the same risk management process applied to assist them. Because of a variety across the elements of the public sector, there are many types of risk influences and often specific law or other determinants. As I say, this differs between organisations, so being able to talk the language of risk, such as you get from IRM training and to peers, is good. I'm here to tell you a little about the public sector climate, which you often see in the media. This means that the work for me is never boring, as things do change. Part of that is the national policy and government change. Of course, within our areas, a local authority has a maximum of 4-year term of policy, and government has 5 years, but of course this could change. We always need to be receptive and look around us, do horizon scanning to see what issues could arise for us in terms of our risk management rollout. As a result, we see impact on policy and how it affects our own and other organisations we work with. And we need to work with them at different levels and rates depending on the situation. The risk profile changes can be affected by the good governance requirements as well. Now, this is something I didn't know at first in risk management when I first started my career, but the International Framework for Good Governance has 7 elements, and one of them is risk. And it needs to be reflected in all large organisations' annual governance statements. So everyone needs to produce one of those, both public and private sector, and it can be linked closely to risk management, such as happens at my authority. I recommend you have a look at that because it does show how important risk is to an organisation to achieve its objectives. Topical and significant risks and opportunities in the public sector are climate change, which is attracting more interest from people and voters. So it's getting higher risk scores and more risk mitigations, which you may become involved with. As the voice of reason and also setting out the mitigations in a practical way. Supply chain management, of course, that's always a big issue for any organisation, and Brexit has an influence on that. We also are affected by changes in other parts of the public sector. For instance, health and adult social care affects how we work together with them as a local authority. We have potentially increased or new statutory duties, and it's good to see how they are affecting all of the organisations. There are a number of magazines or websites that can be accessed to find out about that. As well as keeping up with usual business risks, of course, apart from horizon scanning and reacting to change, we also have to do ordinary things which actually make sure that the council or the organisation is safe and within the law. That can be things like fire management, health and safety issues, and even ash tree dieback, things that affect our ecological environment. So most things in our particular area touch the council. Most things in the public sector touch the council. People don't really know how local services are delivered, how they pay for it, and which parts are governed by which organisations and who does what. So that's an important thing to recognise. So this is my conclusion now. I really have appreciated the training and also the CPD that has come from my IRM studies. Embedding risk management into existing processes, therefore, is often successful. We may not always get everything we would like as a risk manager at first, but persistent works. It's about working with others and respecting their imperatives and backgrounds. So it's not only interesting, but it builds allies and improves organisational resilience. In these times of change and financial challenge, slightly tweaking existing processes, if we can, or our risk management arrangements, help us to manage risks and opportunities and enable our employees and public representatives to show that they have thought ahead. Doing the risk management training, as I say, I think is a great idea. I really support you in your studies, and I learn something most days, which I can honestly say that risk management is interesting. With the climate change in the public sector, the current climate in the current sector, it is an interesting time to be a risk manager, and managing risk and opportunities is at the forefront. Thank you. That's all I have to say, but I'm very happy to support you in the next parts of the course. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jackie. I think when you're talking about the sheer range and type of risks that you have to think about and deal with, it can sometimes be a bit overwhelming. There's just so much going on out there, and I think that's one of the benefits of taking a professional qualification. Is it helps give you the tools and the techniques to sort of bring some order to this huge chaos of uncertainty out there, and you can start to achieving some sort of order and some sort of process in order to ensure that things are dealt with. So I think that's certainly true for the public sector and the private sector, that being skilled in risk management gives you the tools, the techniques, the availability to start making sense of this world and to really sort of make an impact and to ensure things are done better. So moving on, I'd like to bring in Leslie Pringle. Letty's joining us from Scotland, and she has studied more recently for the IRM certificate. Are you there, Letty?
I am. Hello.
Okay, would you like to give us some idea of your particular career history and how you found taking the IRM exams?
Yes, thank you for asking me to talk. To give some context of where I work, I work at NHS Borders, which is one of the 14 health boards within NHS Scotland. NHS Borders has a population of over 110,000 people, and we employ approximately 4,000 staff, covering acute, community and mental health services. This makes risk management a very diverse subject within the risk role in an NHS board, not just NHS Borders. I was told by a peer recently that risk management in the NHS is like a multiverse of disciplines, and it's one of the best descriptions I've heard yet of how risk management in the NHS operates. No day is the same. The variety of work within this role is absolutely unbelievable. It covers everything from financial, clinical, political and reputational risks, just to name a few. Healthcare has micro businesses within it, so your role can range from being involved with project management risks of estates to supporting risk owners with risks relating to service delivery, to writing risk management policy, and so on. I support everyone from frontline staff such as the nurses and medics to directors and executives, helping them understand their role and the risk management process of NHS Borders, assisting them through each stage of the process. Like any job, there are challenges. Culture within healthcare is orientated towards patient care, and one of the challenges is to encourage staff to widen their scope into clinical and corporate risks, and ensuring there's an understanding of the importance of these types of risks to deliver a service, and that can be challenging. For example, the importance of analysing risks around workforce and sustainability, and the impact this can have on the delivery of care of a patient and patient safety. Overall, while it's imperative that a proportional response to the risk is given, we find that it can be difficult when you're dealing with people's lives effectively. So where the qualifications came in, I started with the risk team about 13 years ago, following my graduation from university with a business management degree. Initially, when I started, my role was purely administration of the IT system, and within the next few years I was given the opportunity to progress into the risk coordinator role, which gave me more input into the risk management function for NHS Borders. At this point, I went to study with the IRM to develop my knowledge of the risk management process and approaches, and help me formalise my knowledge of the subject. I have very recently been promoted into the risk management role for NHS Borders, and I am currently working through the IRM diploma. I would say the progression through the ranks has been supported by the IRM qualification. So studying with the IRM, when I first started studying with the IRM, I did wonder how on earth I was going to fit in all the study time with a full-time job and 2 young children. What I found is that in doing my day job, it gave me a lot of information which I could use as part of my studying. The experience through the job allowed me to understand the subject better and digest the information at a faster rate. Saying that, I also had a very supportive manager who allowed me time to attend the webinars offered by IRM, and also study days to ensure I had time to read the books provided and absorb the information that I'd learned on the job. This averaged about 2 days per month study leave and 1 week study leave before the exams. I would say the IRM's not only given me the qualifications, but it's also given me a friendly community in which you're encouraged to ask questions, learn new skills, and to network with other members from a wide variety of companies. And I do this through attending regional groups and special interest groups. I find this really useful and interesting as the management profession encompasses a wide range of industries, and the networking provides an outlook to current issues which are not always available in your organisation. Being a member helps risk management practitioners have an access to a wide range of resources, professional advice and training which can be incorporated into the day-to-day risk management practitioner duties. What I would say with the qualifications is that the qualifications and risk in general, it's inevitable that you're going to come across something within your risk career that you do not know, and it's important as a professional to ensure that you're open to continuous learning and feedback, and I think IRM helps support this. Being an active member of the IRM has also helped me know my subject better, and allows me to progress in my professional career. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you very much, Letty. I think what you were saying about balancing the time spent on study with your family responsibilities is something that goes through people's mind when they are thinking about doing a professional qualification. I've heard people say that it's actually quite a good example to set your children, particularly when they get to the sort of, pre-teen and teenage years. If they see their parents actually buckling down and studying at home and being disciplined about it, it actually sets a rather good example for them in relation to their own education. So we can only hope that these things rub off on the rest of the family. So,
absolutely.
so that's a positive way of looking at that sort of thing. We have had somebody put up a question on the screen, although I'm not sure if answering it is going to do them any good, because they said, is it my screen that's gone black with no sound? So if the person concerned can't hear us, I'm not sure we can help with this, but hopefully, as it is the only question that we've had on this subject, that it is only this person's screen that has gone black with no further sound. So as I said earlier, our ability to deal with sort of technical issues like that is limited because it tends to be as it gets to the Wi-Fi connection in your own home. But if anybody does have any problems, stick a message up if your screen is not black, and we'll see what we can do about it. Okay, we're now going to move on to Mark Butterworth. Hi, Mark.
Hello, Carolyn. Good morning.
Mark is a module coach. He's going to take us through what the program covers and the way that we support people in the learning. So over to you, Mark.
Great. Well, thank you, and hello, everybody. Yes, I've also been a member of the Institute of Risk Management for a long time. It's kind of, an essential part of my career. I might be a member for more than 30 years, I think, something like that. And I did the exams, so echoing what Letty and Jackie have said, I've been through the journey. And now my role here is to be the module coach for Module 2. So in the certificates, as you would have seen from an earlier slide, we have Modules 1 and 2 that combine to provide the international certificate in enterprise risk management. Carolyn, do we move on to the next slide here? What are you seeing at the moment on your screen? I'd like to see the slide that says, what does the program cover? Maybe that will come. Okay. Well, let's carry on anyway. Let's talk about what the modules cover in a general sense, as distinct from the financial services qualification. Well, firstly,
I think we have got the what does the program cover slide up. I think there's sometimes a delay of quite a few seconds before the slides appear in front of you, but hopefully enough of the audience are seeing the slide that says what does the program cover.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I love the technology movement. Anyway. Okay, yeah, let's look at module 1 and 2. You see them together when the slide comes up. Well, I mean, this is designed to give all students who take this program a comprehensive education in the essentials and the fundamentals of risk management as a coherent process. And Module 1 deals with a lot of the essential concepts and definitions and introduces us to risk management standards and regulatory frameworks. Sometimes I talk to people and they don't really realize that there are published standards through the International Standardization Organization, and indeed the IRM has its own standard that is on the website and can be downloaded for free in a number of languages. And if we get into this risk management standard, we find that it is very much a fluent and coherent process. And so Module 1 goes into the detail of enterprise risk management. It talks about the risk assessment and therefore the risk response and treatment or the control environment that's appropriate for the risks that have been identified and assessed and evaluated within the organization. Now, as you will have seen, this is, as you understand from my comments, this is a structure that applies to all types of organizations. So within the public sector, with a wide array of, if you like, specialisms, whether it's housing, healthcare, as we just heard, schools, libraries, transport, and so on, it really is a very wide-ranging sector, almost more than one sector within the public sector definition. So the program is applicable to all of these areas, with perhaps the one minor exception that if you are working in the finance area or the public sector, treasury, or something like that, you may be inclined to look at the financial services sector qualifications. But that's mainly taken by people who work in banks, investment companies, and insurance companies, and so on. Okay, let's have a look at Module 2, the practice of risk management. Well, here we really start to get into the real world of practical risk management. We emphasize the importance of understanding the global business environment and looking at the risk strategy that your organization decides upon and the framework that's adopted. The really important areas of assessing, understanding risk culture and then risk appetite and tolerance are dealt with in this module. These are really key concepts in order to understand the response to the risk that is appropriate for your organization. We talk about our best friends, and that's the internal audit function, who we work quite closely with on risk assurance and reporting, key risk indicators. We look at the risk management information systems, and generally making sure that all the work that we do in risk management is reported in an appropriate way to senior managers for decisions to be made and so on. The course teaches the benefits of this kind of reporting and kind of puts the risk management function as the central hub of a wheel with the spokes, if you like, being all of the various people and departments that we have to deal with across the organization. Learning from case studies is also emphasized as being such an important point in this module, with looking at close neighbors, if you will, other public sectors, and then in international organizations, and then non-public sectors. Look at any kind of organization to understand the risk that they have to deal with. So just this morning, actually, in fact, Lucas is going to talk about webinars and so on, but we just had this morning the Module 2 webinar, the welcoming webinar, and we've been talking about the risk issues in the tennis in Melbourne in Australia with the pollution from the wildfires, how the risks to that organisation are managed, and then such things as Travelex, who just recently have had to revert to manual working because of a cyber attack. So all of these things, environment, whether it's environmental change or an incident, an event like wildfires or flooding, cyber risk apply to all organizations, and using case studies is really important too. So do we go to the next slide, I think? Yeah? So this is essentially a distance learning program. The Institute provides you with all that you need by way of the study materials, some in hard copy, some online. And I think as Leslie and Jackie have said, you have to cope with your normal working life and your family life in order to fit things in. But there is an opportunity in some circumstances to undertake some workshops, and without reading all the words on the screen here, you can see that most of the, well, I guess all of the elements of the study program can be covered if you're able to go to these workshops. All this information is available on the website, and as I say, Lucas is going to talk shortly about the program, how it all works. But I was kind of round up by saying this, that you do get, although it's a distance learning program, you do get a lot of support from the IRM during the 6-month journey, i.e. from now, January through to the June exams, or then the next 6 months through to November. There are 3 webinars on each module, plus all of the support material from the office. So I'll wrap up there, Carolyn, and hand you back for now.
Thank you very much, Mark. So now we're going to go on to sort of the practicalities of how you might enroll on this course and the implications for you if you do. So I'm going to hand over to Lucas Moraes, who is part of our student support team here at the IRM. So Lucas, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Carolyn. So as you mentioned, I'm part of the student support team, and I'm going to talk a bit about the journey that students go from the moment they enroll all the way until they receive the exam results. So we have 2 exam sessions per year, one in June and one in December. We're currently taking enrollments for the June examination, and you can enroll until the 31st of January. As it was mentioned, all the study materials and the study is done online by distance learning. So what do you receive as support? So study guides, course study books, and there are 3 online webinars throughout your studies: induction webinar, a revision, mid-program webinar, and a revision webinar. And we also have a LinkedIn discussion forum where you can join, talk with other students, and talk with your module coach. Sorry. So the program is formed by 2 modules, modules 1 and 2. Module 1 was previously assessed by a multiple choice questions exam, and will remain as that. Module 2, sorry, yeah.
There we go.
Module 2 was previously assessed by a short answer question exam, and is now moving to also a multiple choice question exam, formed of 60 questions, and the duration of the exam is 90 minutes. So once you join as a student, you get 1 year free of affiliate membership, or for the whole period of your study as IRM International Certificate, sorry.
And affiliate membership means that you can come to our groups, doesn't it? You can come to the meetings of the regional group and the special interest groups.
Yeah, so you can join the regional groups and special interest groups. You can also access our resource center online.
And you get the magazine, don't you? So yeah.
Yeah. So there's also the Enterprise magazine, which was previously posted, but now we're moving towards only the digital version of the magazine.
So I think you described that we provide a big sort of network of support, don't we, for the students? And so we provide some structure to that, but at the end of the day, you can be flexible about exactly when you study.
Yeah, it really depends on your availability and your time. Yeah. So we recommend 180 to 200 hours of study per module. So in total, the certificate would be 400 hours, more or less. And that's for 6 to 9 months of study. So it's really up to you. How do you balance your personal time, your working time, and your family time? But we say roughly 20 hours per week of study to cover.
And we found some people are very organised and they structure it very carefully and draw it all out, and we can support them with that. Other people, do it in bursts, don't they? When they have something. So that's the benefit of doing something like this. You don't have to turn up at a university or a college on a regular basis. You can pace yourself, through the year, taking your work and your family into account.
Definitely. So, and once you enroll, you can download the student handbook. At the end of the student handbook, we offer a template for you to organize your studies. But as you said, basically, it really depends on your personal preferences. There are no requirements to attend to any classroom. The only thing you have to attend are the exams, which are in one of our person view exam test centers, which is the worldwide organization.
Over 5,000 worldwide. So wherever you are in the world, we have one near you.
And we've just put up a slide that summarises the support that Lucas and his team provide here. So we've covered the membership of the IRM, the study guides that you get that help you structure things. We have some textbooks. Some of our qualifications have more textbooks than others. If you go into the diploma, you get more. But your use of the textbooks is controlled and structured. So
basically everything you need to have for your studies is available on the My Study, which is a personalized area for students. Once you enroll, you get access to it. We have essential readings list. All the webinars are recorded, so if you cannot attend to the live webinars, they will be available there for you all the time. And you can email us and call us if you have any questions. We provide all sorts of support for students that maybe have some issues or some difficulties with technology. We help them through the phone, or if your query is not that urgent, you can ask anything via email.
And then I think at the end, the nice bit comes when you actually issue students with their certificates, because we've had a question that's come through online to say, do you get a certificate? And you do, because that's one thing you do, is that you send out a paper certificate to everybody who successfully completes the course. Yeah, we do. So the exam results are released 6 weeks after the exam date, and providing that you have passed, you will receive a certificate on the post 1 week after, or if you're an international student, 8 weeks after. Yeah, and then you also can put IRM cert after your name on your business card and so on your CV. And then we get calls and inquiries from like recruitment consultants or people who you go for. Is this person really qualified with the IRM? And we say yes. They are on our database, and we confirm that you have that qualification. And we also encourage you then to move on and upgrade your qualification, move on to the diploma if that's what you want to do. Good. Well, thank you very much, Lucas.
Thank you.
Okay. So that concludes the speakers for our webinar today on the IRM's qualifications. So I'd like to thank everybody who has dialed in and joined us and shared their knowledge and experience. So don't forget that you can access a recording of this webinar if you want to hear it again, if you think you might have missed something, or if you want to recommend it to a colleague who can pass the link on to them. So you should listen to this. It's something you should consider taking. You'll get an email after this webinar to give you the links and to give you a reminder of what we've done today. And then, of course, take a look at the IRM website where you can get more information about all our courses and about enrolment. And Lucas and our inquiries team here are also more than happy to deal with any questions that you may have either by email or by phone. So we hope that we will be welcoming many of you as our students very soon. Thank you very much and goodbye.